With the 7th lead change in the championship, Mick Claridge has once again taken over the top spot in the standings. Only second place Kochi still has some points remaining in their pocket, but in reality, the gloves have been off for a long time already, and it's been a game of survival from this point on. Now, with 3 races to go, anyone inside the top 4 still has a good chance to win it all, and that's what they are all after. So buckle up, get some popcorn, and join us today as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Grand Prix Legends Series live here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth today is my partner in crime, Ryan Walker. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes to director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Pretty much everyone and their parents on the iRacing service know how to reverse the Lime Rock circuit, especially with their experience. But because there's always the possibility of new viewers joining us today and some of the trickiness of this track, let's head tarmac side and learn more about this track via the GSRC lap guide.
Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7 corners are split along a 1.5 mile track with just a single one of them turning left. Though simple in appearance, most drivers will tell you that trying to be fast here is anything but. The run down the front stretch into Big Bend offers pretty much the only viable passing spot, but it's a double apex right-hander which lures drivers into taking it too fast. The uphill is also scary quick considering its lack of runoff and can sometimes cause cars to get airborne over its crest. Then, on the opposite end, the downhill sends cars diving into a quick sweeper which requires a good exit speed in order to defend or attack back into the first corner. Modern racing mostly uses the more recently built chicanes, especially at the uphill. But one of the most unusual facts about this track is that the races are never held on Sunday. Due to a legal agreement with a nearby church, events must take place on Fridays and Saturdays. The confines around this place are tight, the passing opportunities are few, and mistakes are usually punished with race-ending damage. With most other road courses now being built with upwards of 3 and 4 miles in length, this track stands out. But in an age of multi-million-dollar facilities and flashy buildings, this quaint small circuit manages to keep fans coming back with its intimate and grassroots setting.
My broadcast partner once again, Ryan Walker, as we get all set to go racing. What can you add amongst this difficult circuit today?
Yeah, Lime Rock Park is such a fantastic track, and I've done some laps around here offline, and it's got a bit of history as well. But the circuit recently just went under some updates, especially to the home straight, and a host of real life series have raced here in the past, from Grand Dam to Pirelli World Challenge, the Can-Am, the SCCA, and the American Le Mans series, now formerly the WeatherTech Championship, and it's also currently owned by Skip Barber, who is formerly known as the owner of was known as the owner of the former Skip Barber Racing School. So it's got a bit of tradition, and today we'll be using the full layout, which has got 7 turns and is 1.53 miles in length.
Going to be a tricky one today for these machines, as you normally don't see Lotus 49s on this type of track, to say the very least. But the Formula 1 Drivers' Championship, as talked about at the top of the broadcast, sees Mick Claridge at the top of the board with Rob Olenek in second. Nicole Kochi comes into today third, with Ove Trangerwade rounding out the top 4. Peter Mikus rounds out your top 5 in the points, separated by about 71 points or so. You also have Dorado within the conversation as well, as you can also see on screen. The F2 Drivers' Championship has also been interesting because while there's a decent cushion here, Ryan, there's still a lot of drivers fighting second on back.
Yeah, everything's still to play for, and Finland's Antti Kerinen has pretty much been the man in form for most of the season. He's leading the championship, and all he has to do really is just finish on the podium for the remaining races, and he's basically got the F2 championship wrapped up. But second place is still all to play for, with David Rossi 97 points further back, and then Pekka Risto from Finland in third place, and then Colin Bentley in fourth, and rounding out the top five is Andrew Eng. So the championship might be wrapped up in the F2 championship, but second place is all to play for.
Let's take a look towards the Nations Cup. Meanwhile, as well as the United Kingdom's on top of the board there. 412 points on the season, 31-point advantage over the United States, Italy, Norway, and Finland. Round out your top five for the Nations Cup, entering round 11 of the campaign. Let's talk about the race details as well, Ryan, as these competitors get ready for what should be an interesting one.
Yep, as it stands, we're on round 11, and then after this round, we've got basically two rounds left in the season, I should say. As the season has been flying by, the race line for today will be 40 laps, with the setup as always an open setup, so you're free to make any changes. And the incident limits will be 17x will be a penalty, and 25x will mean you'll be disqualified from the race.
Talk a little bit more about the setups and some of the philosophies for today. To take the opportunity to ask, are you looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions, official series sponsorships, commercial placements? We have advertising options available, customizable to suit your company's needs. Follow the link in the description to the YouTube version of this broadcast to learn more about the Global SimRacing Channel. As mentioned, qualifying is now underway. Let's talk a little bit about some of the expectations today. The fuel numbers have been something that's been a constant discussion, Ryan, for today. Some drivers feel 6 gallons is the what you can get to the end for 40 laps, some up to 7 gallons. That could be very important in setting some of the weight, especially since there is a section of the track where you're potentially not even touching the tires on the track, approaching right here, in fact.
Yeah, fuel's been a big factor around Lime Rock Park in the past, and some people might try and go with 7 gallons just as a safety net, and just to be safe and make it to the finish. But also the track conditions as well, and the track temperature can play a factor with the fuel as well. If it's a hot track, you could be using more fuel consumption, so it's something for these drivers to think about.
As you see on the left side of your screen, practice times are shooting up as you see the temps both in Fahrenheit and Celsius. This is 105 Fahrenheit, 41 degrees Celsius track temp. Drivers were competing in track temps up to 8 degrees hotter Fahrenheit earlier this morning. Currently, the drivers at the top of the board, Mick Claridge of 48.727, Rafael Dorado in second, Olenek Price and Kochi currently rounding out your top 5. Trangerade right now in P6, crossing the stripe. Just about 1/1000th of a second off his best previous time. So, a lot of drivers on the track this evening, including this man, who's expected to be a competitor, and Zoko. A lot of drivers were happy to see him in practice today, Ryan.
Yeah, I don't think Benjamin's been around that much this season at all, as he comes across the line to complete his lap, and looks like he won't improve. But yeah, it's good to see Benjamin back on track, and Gary Teal coming across the line now to finish the lap by the looks of it.
Still a couple other drivers yet to complete a lap time. Gary Teal, Joshua Battles, Robert Reynolds, and Trixier are yet to set time so far. Let's talk about the potential passing opportunities for today, especially the importance potentially of qualifying. How tricky can it be to pass here at this track, with it being only 1.5-ish miles and 7 turns?
I think it'll be difficult. I mean, the only passing place you've got really is down the San Posey Straight, and then heading down to Turn 1 into Big Bend. That's really only the passing places around you that you've got. But that tricky middle sector, you can't really make a move. So it's basically, you've just got to be careful. And I think some of these drivers will have to be very careful with it being such a tight track as well, and having such a big field of cars.
So in turn, where do you feel the most dangerous sections will be for these competitors?
I think up the right-hander going uphill onto the back straight, I think that could be a tricky section for this Lotus 49 car, because as we know, and from the races we've watched in the past, the Lotus 49 is such a tricky car to drive, and if you try and overdrive it or wrestle with it, it'll bite you.
Mentioned some of the importance of qualifying already. We've seen some of the quick times separated by as much as 6 seconds from the bottom of the board to the top of the board. How important do you feel this track position will be in turn, with it being 40 fast laps around here, about under 50 seconds?
Track position is going to be absolutely vital. I mean, you want to try and get a good start and try and gain some track position in the early stage of the race and just stay settled down. So I think you'll see some of these drivers, especially up at front, the likes of Claridge, Dorado, Olenek, Price, Kochi, Trengray, they'll try and maybe try and gain some positions, and after that just settle in as the race goes on. But yeah, track position around here, with it being such a small track, is absolutely crucial.
By the way, the only two drivers not to set a qualifying time, or not going to have time to set said time, as they've stayed in the pit lane. Back row Bob Reynolds along with Joshua Battles. Those are the two competitors not to set qualifying laps. Overall, though, draft is normally a talking point, Ryan, at these types of tracks. When this green flag flies and when the lights go out, how important do you feel it will be today, especially since there's only one long straightaway on this entire track?
It's going to be important. I think like you say, there's only really one passing place, which is on the home straight, heading down to turn one. So, yeah, I think the draft around here might be, it won't be the vital that much, like you'd see at other tracks, but I think around this track, I think it could play a vital part indeed.
Final moments of qualifying now wrapping up, as the drivers are just about set to roll their cars onto the grid again. 37 competitors for what's expected to be an exciting race here at the virtual Lime Rock Park. Let's take a look towards how things will start for today. Mick Claridge sets the pole time of 48.727. He's been the quickest driver in practice all morning, with Rafael Dorado with a strong Q run. He's in P2. Rob Olenek, the first driver in the 49-second brackets, in third, with Dave Price and Nicola Kochi rounding out your top five. Ove Trengray will start at 6th, with Pekka Risto looking competitive early on in the morning in 7th in qualifying. Pierre Mikko starts in P8, with Bill Tyler and Yuri Jerson rounding out your top 10, Ryan.
Starting in 11th is Antti Kerinen, with Benjamin Soko in 12th, Chris Marikami in 13th, alongside him in 14th is Mika Leiner, Gary Thiel in 15th, Gary Bentley in 16th, with Sebastian Tixier in 17th, 18th is Jan Lehmann, 19th is Warren Watkins, and rounding out the 20th is Igor Corbu.
Kyle Clement, Laus Dolson amongst the other competitors, and you're inch deep in the field as well. Looking towards the rest of your competitors, as a majority of the field has already brought their cars onto the grid again. 37 drivers, 35 qualified, the slowest time going to John Palmer off the pole time, and the next car, in fact, by 6 and 3 seconds, respectively. Drivers just about all set to go here for the virtual Lime Rock Park. Mick Claridge will be in control of the field once the lights go out. Everyone's all set, just about to go for what's expected to be an exciting one. Your quick thoughts before the green flag flies, Ryan?
Yeah, I think we're in for a bit of we're going to be in for a chaotic race, and I think there's going to be a few surprises as we're just about to get underway with the green lights.
Engines are revving, green lights are out, we're underway as Mick Claridge with a bit of a slow start. Dorado with a good launch, more drivers crashing in the back half of the field. On the outside, meanwhile, Dorado trying to take the lead, can't get it to stick as Claridge holds on, going into the infield section off to the left-hander.
Yeah, Rafael Dorado lost a few positions there. He ran wide a little bit. There was someone off in the background on the grass, but yeah, Dorado's lost some positions after going wide in turn one.
That's Gary Thiel still keeping on rumbling. As mentioned, 3 drivers, in fact, had to pull in tow trucks. Olsen, Battles, and Randy Hull involved in the early incident off the jump. But for Claridge, his jump's been strong. Olenek now in second spot. Price, Kochi, Dorado rounding out your top 5 to the end of the first lap. Still 39 laps to go on the board.
Ahead in turn one, it's still Claridge in the lead as well, Olenek in second, and Dave Price has made a great start up into third place, and Kochi as well in fourth, and Dorado, like I mentioned, has been the big loser in the first lap, and yeah, might have just got slightly rattled a little bit.
Should note several drivers also elected to come down to the pit lane due to damage. Turbo, who started deep in the field, Van Dorn with suspension damage, also dropping back, but Claridge looking very comfortable so far, willing to be right on the edge, very, very loose, and drifting around some of these corners. Already, though, has damaged the nose a little bit on the left side particular. However, it's gained him 0.7 of a second over the 4.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this Lotus 49 as well, just because of how hard they're braking. Sometimes, depending on what part of the track you're braking on, the front of the car can hit the ground, and it gives you just some slight nose damage, but nothing too major.
Fastest lap overall on that first green flag run. Ended up being Goose with a 49.114. We're hearing the cause for the incident on the start, by the way, was with Corbo, the 18 machine, not being able to switch in gear at the time of the green flag. Still, the rest of the field still sorting themselves out single file, waiting to try and pressurize for a mistake. This type of racetrack, how do you try again plan out the moves with there being only the one main passing zone and the importance of trying to keep within range of the air cars?
I think, yeah, you just want to try and stay as close to the car in front of you as possible through this, the first sector and middle sector. You just try and stay close to them. Don't make any moves straight away, and then if you're close enough on the exit of the final corner, try and make a run on them and make a move into turn 1, or maybe just try and stay close to them and maybe pull away from the rest of the cars behind you.
So the top 5 have sorted themselves out, but about 8th on back, check that 9th on back, has not sorted themselves out yet. Bill Tyler currently holding up the 9th position, but feeling lots of pressure because Soko is coming in fairly quick, and now a pass to the inside. That is Antikarian taking advantage of the jump to move back up 1 position.
Yeah, it was a fantastic move by Karen, and he managed to, he got a bit of airtime, but yeah, he managed to make that move and make it as a ride on board with Zoko as well. And Zoko's made a good start as well, currently in 12th, and behind his pack as well, but I don't think he's going to do anything too silly in the early stages of the races, more than just happy to sit behind and just see how the race pans out.
Take this time to remind you that live timing and scoring is available at GSRC.tv. Once again, GSRC.tv to keep up with where your favorite teams and drivers are across today's race for the Grand Prix of Legends here at the virtual Lime Rock Park. To reset, Claridge in the lead by now 7-10 to contact. Soko gets hit from behind. He's flipped onto the tires. And what a moment there for the 8th hit from behind by one of the fastest drivers in practice. Miko Leno hits him from behind.
Yeah, thinking about it, just put the course on Zoko. So yeah, sorry about that, Benjamin, but yeah, he just unfortunately gets tagged from behind, and it ends up in contact as they head up the hill. And yeah, both of them are basically the race is over. It's a battle for P3 is going on at the front between Rob Olenek and Dave Price.
Dave Price looking very sporty so far, Ryan, but has been losing touch to the cars in front. You can see how much he's having to drift going up the hills, uphill especially, compared to some of the others who are able to keep it planted and carry extra more speed, and in turn, more air time before they head towards West Bend.
Yeah, and as they come down the Sam Posey straight now, and the Price is under huge pressure from Nicola Cochi as well, and the Cochi is also under pressure from Rafael Dorado, who pulls out to have a wee look, but decides not to make a move.
Take a look on board Rafael Dorado. A lot of training, to say the very least, to prepare for these races, has shown a lot of improvement in recent rounds. He was very bold, I have to say, Ryan, on the start, trying to make it work on the high side, but as we've seen, if you time up the pass wrong, you can lose several positions.
Yeah, I think Rafael was just a bit, as he gets a bit of airtime over the jump, but he was a bit optimistic trying to go around the outside, and you know what it's like on the outside. Sometimes you can lose grip, and unfortunately you run wide, and unfortunately Rafael found out.
Toronto still trying to build up some speed meanwhile, as they are reaching lap traffic blue flags, as Robert Reynolds now stays on the right side of the racetrack. And that's going to be a potential factor here. With the size of this track, Ryan, you may see lap traffic several dozen times. In fact, may lap the same drivers at least twice in some cases.
It's possible, just because it's the nature of the track, and also how relatively small the track is. I mean, it's not really, it's a short track, and yeah, as we found out just now, Robert Reynolds got lapped by the traffic, and it could be, like you mentioned, could be lapped up to maybe 2 or 3 times, depending on how quick the leader is.
And when you reach that traffic in turn, how do you try and keep yourself clean, especially if you're, say, having decent advantages and don't want to lose too much time?
I think when it comes to lapping the traffic around here, you don't want to do anything too silly. You just want to not wait too long, but not do anything too silly. Just bide your time, and then when there's a chance, or when the back marker allows you to go through, that's when you make the move.
Currently the fastest car on the track, as you can tell, is Mick Claridge, 1.9 seconds ahead. In practice, he was a tenth or so quicker than anybody else. Yesterday at times, in default weather in the afternoon for tonight was expected for podium to be in the 49-second bracket per lap. Claridge, for most of the morning, has been running in the 48 sevens to 9s on fresh tires. That car's been quick. The cars behind are in that projected range that was set in the pre-race briefings for today.
Indeed, as Mick Claridge just laps the back marker, pulls onto the grass, and Mick Claridge at the moment is just pulling away, and they pretty much built up a commanding lead at the moment. He's about two seconds ahead of Rob Ball in seconds. So as the battle between Pecaristo and Yuri Gieson is going on for the 8th and 9th at the moment, and Yuri Gieson is one that's been slowly improving in this series as well. He's always been a decent driver.
And behind as the pink machine drifts its way to the corner, they're really having to back it off the gas here to try and make sure they don't destabilize the car, it seems, in this grouping, and that in turn is hurting these drivers just a little bit. The 16 behind them is able to send it a little deeper on the entry, it seems, Ryan, but it's not helping them gain time.
Yeah, the battle for 4th and 5th is going on between Coche and Dorado at the moment, and Dorado still has not been able to make a move to get by, and just in front of Coche, it looks like it's Dave Price in 3rd place.
Yeah, so there's now 4 cars in this train. You can also put Trangerade into this grouping as well, 3/10 back, as you see in the right-hand corner of your screen. So 4-car train, and Dorado's taken a couple looks we've seen down the Sam Posey straight. The problem has been, though, you can't just force it on in unless the driver in front of you makes a mistake on the exit going to Sam Posey straight up down in the downhill. Dorado's had another look here, just can't get to the inside again. In fact, nearly made contact.
Yeah, I think Rafael's getting a bit frustrated now. He knows he's quicker than Coche at the moment, but it's just there's not really that many passing places around here, like I mentioned on the start of the broadcast. So he gets a run, but he just can't make a move.
Showed up that the leader's pace has evened out to 2nd place. Olenek, and they're now starting to run away as they're bit of a bobble. That's Kochi. Able to save it as now Dorado forced up the track. Tries to go around. Now Trangerade takes advantage. Another mistake from Dorado. Out of the top 5 goes Dorado. He's your biggest loser. Outside of the drivers in the first incident, -4 in the race.
Yeah, and Coche made a mistake in front of Dorado going over that jump, and it might have just unsettled Dorado a little bit, so Dorado had to back off, and that allowed Ove Trangerade to pounce and make a move up into 5th place now.
And a car in the middle of the racetrack. That's Terry Tromachero. I should rather say. Dangerous spot for the 31 car, as several drivers have just dodged him in the middle of the first sector. Just avoiding them, as most of these competitors, I don't know how in the world there hasn't been an even bigger incident here.
Yeah, I'm amazed as well, and that's the other thing with this track as well, was back markers, Ted just pulled back on track and just I thought he was going to get collected there for a minute, but managed to just rejoin safely. But that's the thing with this track, back markers or cars off track, there's nowhere to really hide. It's kind of the battle between Trangerade and Dorado's going on as well, and it looks like Rafael Dorado, Trangerade's off.
And a mistake for Trangerade as he gives back the top 5. Let's take a look. And we've seen a few cents for Dorado before, and we'll see if it's not from that. No, it's a mistake. Just simple mistake.
Yep, and that's it. That's the thing with this track as well. With turn one, if you just go in too late or carry too much speed and you lose the rear end, that'll bite you. And Trent Grade was the unfortunate one to find that out.
P10, meanwhile, was still pretty hectic as Bill Tyler has lost that 9th position. Risto is still trying to pull away from him, but you have Chris Murakami under attack. As Karen now to the inside line for P11, they'll give up the spot on the backdrop. So several positions up for grabs in this train of 4.
Yep, and Karen made the move up the inside of Murakami, and Murakami having a good run as well. And in 12th place, he's not always been the quickest driver, but he's always there and thereabouts when it comes to top 10 results.
Yeah, he's still +1 from the starting position, and already the gap in the span of just 15, 16 laps or so is about 16 seconds to the end of the top 12. That's how quick the pace is for the drivers in front. These drivers are running about 49.8s to 50 flats. The leaders are still in the 48.9s to 49.4s.
Yep, and Rafael Dorado, as we talk as well, is just set the fastest lap of the race, I should say, and Rafael's managing just to get his head back in the game.
Let's go up towards Dorado, because we mentioned there was the chance he was getting held up a little bit. Well, he's flying, as we've already seen, and not just figuratively, but a little bit literally down out of the uphill. They've reached some lap traffic, though. This might be a shot for Dorado to build up a run. Traffic stays on the left side of the racetrack. They try and work his way around, able to get by. That's Robert Orota who lets them go, not able to make the move as Price nearly got attacked by Kochi.
I was just watching Kochi as well. He just he got his wheel on the grass ever so slightly, and I'm amazed he never lost it. He managed to keep good control of it, and again they've caught up to Dave Price in 3rd place. So I think it's just a matter of time before Price loses maybe one or even 2 positions, because it looks like Kochi and Dorado are just a slight bit quicker than him at the moment.
And the traffic very thick here as the Canadian driver stays to the right side of the racetrack. That's the 31 who was stuck to the track before. So this is again going to be potentially with this grouping as well, where we see those big bundles of traffic, because 24th, 23rd, 22nd are just up the road from these competitors. And we've seen already how close it's been for some of these drivers to nearly run them over in some of these sections.
Yeah, and that's the fun with this track as well, because it's so tight, and when it comes to lapping the back markers, there's nothing really you can do. I mean, it's not the back marker's fault for getting in the way. It's just one of those tracks that you've got nowhere to really move out the way, apart from this straight we're coming up to now, or even on the whole straight.
Should note that Trainer Raid's now lost this grouping by a few seconds, has been struggling the past couple laps. Kochi now tries to make a run as a car goes in the grass. That's Bruno trying to let by traffic. Price under attack. To the bottom side, Kochi with the squeeze takes away P3.
Oh, I'm not even racing, and that just made me take a big deep breath, because I thought I was going to end up in disaster, but thankfully they managed to survive. And it looks like Dorado's making a move up the side of Price, or he's trying to at the moment, but can't do it.
So what do you do if you're Dorado now? Because it seems he doesn't want to send it on the inside. And we both understand the reasoning, of course, is you don't want to make tire-to-tire contact. At the same time, eventually you have to try and make a move.
Yeah, I think Rafael realises he's quicker at the moment, and he wants to try and get a move done, but he doesn't want to take any risks. It always goes right up in Dave Price as they go over the hill, and that was so close to ending up in contact, but he luckily managed to survive. But I think you just got Rafael just needs to try and get a good exit on this final corner.
That time he actually had to check up out of the gas to make sure he didn't hit Price. More traffic up the road as well. Forces them to the right side. That's Gary Anderson, the 23rd place car. The drivers at the back of the field, by the way, are running 51 to 52 second lap times. Your leaders still have not had an ounce of fall off, if not been getting faster. And that's one of the main things with open wheel racing. For those tuning in for the first time, the more fuel you burn line, the faster you usually go, even with the tire wear factory in. That's just how open wheel cars are set up in turn, where you want to have the least amount of fuel as you can to make sure as well at the same time you don't run out of gas on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. As the battle for P9 is going on between Pecorista and it looks like Bill Tyler as well, and also Antti Kerinen, and in the background you've got Chris Marikami. So this battle is going on for the final position in the top 10, and it looks like at the moment Kerinen is the quicker driver out of this pack.
They're sorting each other out, but Dorado, we've talked about him trying to make a sin. He's finally found time to make the sin. Trying to force it on the long way around to the left-hander. Now has the preferred line for the right-hander. Gives the spot back. So Dorado not able to take advantage. Now Trangerade is now back in the fight. 2 seconds lost, Ryan, because Dorado couldn't complete the pass by the time they got to the left-hander.
Yeah, Price and Dorado were just holding each other up and slowing each other up even, and they lost each other just too much time, and that's allowed Trangerade to close back up to them, and they also in turn, Dorado's kind of lost touch to Price in front of him, so Dorado just shot himself in the foot there.
So this is going to take at least a few more laps for Dorado to try and reset. They are reaching more traffic as they're going to say hello again to Robert Reynolds, by the way. Give credit to Robert. He's gone up to 29th and gained 7 spots. He's now checking up the pack, though, as he stays on the preferred line now to the outside line to let them go. That's going to allow a couple more cars to join the run. Speaking of crazy runs, P9 and 10 about to reach that said car, about to heat up as well, where Bill Tyler has that spot again for P9.
Yeah, P9, Bill Tyler at the moment is in P9, but Pecorista is keeping him honest. And also Chris Marikami is not too far behind as well, and behind Marikami it looks like closing down on him is Colin Bentley, so this part could start to build up pretty soon.
Potentially. That's gone back and forth a few times. Dorado, meanwhile, still trying to attack as Trangerade trying to attack. Let's go on board with Trangerade. Trying to wheel it right behind. Remember, he lost 2 seconds, Ryan, but that again was how much time they held each other up between Dorado and Price, trying to fight side by side for one section of the track.
It is, and that's the thing with this track as well. If you keep battling amongst yourselves and hold each other up or slow each other up, it costs you time. And as Dorado gets a bit sideways as we ride on board the Trangerade, coming down the hill into the final corner, and can Trangerade try and get a good exit? Oh, he just messed up a little bit after clipping the inside curve, so he loses a bit of momentum.
Dorado thinking about sending it as dirt's picked up, and Price is being very defensive at this point. It's pretty clear that Price does not want to lose P4 at this point. Dorado, keep in mind, still a -3 on the race.
And again, it looks like Dorado is quicker than Price at the moment, and it's just that same old case around here. He just can't get the move done because there's nowhere to pass apart from the Sam Posey straight.
It's not only that, Ryan, he's the fastest car on the track. He was 0.2 quicker than the race leader last time. His average pace has been around that same ballpark when he's been in open space to Mick Claridge.
So yeah, it looks like Dorado's definitely got the pace, but he just can't make a move, and if it wasn't for that mistake at the start by Dorado, he could have been up there challenging for a podium, or even at a push, he could have been challenging for a possible win.
They'll pass by Corbo once again as he's in the grass. Let's take a look towards P6. 16th-ish, I should rather say, as Jane Lyman currently holding on to that spot. Plato currently in 17th, remember, was involved in incident before, still running without the engine cone, and Kyle Clements is quietly a +3 also in this train as well, as there goes the 12 machine up a couple spots as Lyman lets them both go on the inside, heading to Sam Posey straight to the Big Bend.
Absolutely, and as a lap about Marco, it's like Bob Reynolds by the looks of it, and they managed to get by him without any issues. As we go back up to towards the front with the battle for 4th place between Price and Dorado, and the Trangerade as well. And again, Dorado is just not able to do anything about trying to get by Price at the moment.
And not only that, they've now allowed Peter Mikos back into the fight, and the reason the 3 had started falling off before was he was drifting a lot on the short run. Now, their pace near even, and has closed back on in to make this now a 4-car train again. We'll also pass by more traffic this time, But again, it's just been almost a chess match, waiting for someone to make that wrong move to be able to try and counter move and take advantage as a result, and no one's made too many mistakes so far for positions, at the front at least.
Absolutely, and it looks like Price is not under attack this time. It's Dorado. It's having to play defensive with Trengrade and Peter Mikus behind as well. So Dorado's just slightly lost touch with Price.
Approaching 3/4 the way in, by the way. Let's take a look on board. This is from Peter Mikus in the 3 machine. In regards to iRating sorting, 5,081 iRating on the road, still falling behind with the suspension bumping and banging along. His pace has been around the 49 threes on average. That's about a 10th and a half off the race leader's average pace in the past 10.
Yep, and Lime Rock proving again that it's really close, and this car as well proving how really close the racing can be. As Trengrade gets a bit sideways and Peter Mikus is off.
And an error mistake. That's been his trouble spot all day, it seems, Ryan. He made that mistake on lap 3, nearly slid in the grass. 4 tire drifted in Big Ben. That time it sent him off the grass to take it back into a 3-car train again for that spot for 4th.
And it's such a tricky corner to get right, because you get tempted to kind of trail brake, kind of just hold the brake and downshift at the same time, but you can't really do that in this car as you come up to the final couple of corners again. And Dorado is closed back up to Price, and they just pulled away a little bit from Trengrade behind them after that Trengrade made that mistake. And Dorado, it looks like he's slightly closer this time around.
Price again, defensive line. Dorado this time electing to try and take it on the high side, similar to what he did at the start. Trying to make it stick, no, again doesn't work. They are still matching times, by the way, to Nicola Cocci in 3rd spot, who is still 2 seconds up the road, but still, Dorado has not been able to make a pass this entire time. By the way, your biggest movers, +9, Gary Anderson, +9, the 31 machine, who was involved in an incident in the middle of the racetrack earlier in this race. The previous biggest mover, we've seen him on the side of the racetrack the last lap, in Chris Hengler, who was about a +10 beforehand. Dorado now trying to take advantage of a mistake, though. Price bobbled into underneath the Bailey Bridge. Dorado once again back out of the gas. Back to the right side of the racetrack. Dorado with the send. Can he finally make this pass for P4? Tries to shove Price off the racing line. He does. Dorado finally up to 4th. Trengrade trying to follow suit for 5th.
And it looks like Trengrade managed to make the move on the Price on the outside, and all I have to say about Rafael Dorado is about flaming time.
But at what cost? 14 seconds backing out of the race lead. It's a question of what could have been. Now with 10 laps to go, Mick Claridge coming to the final quarter of the race. The lead, 6.9 seconds, and a new fastest lap of 48.840. Only 3 drivers have been in the 48-second bracket: Claridge, Olenek, and Dorado today.
Yeah, Mick Claridge is pretty much in command and form at the moment. He's just pulled away from the rest of the pack, and proving why I gave him the nickname the Dominator, because he's just pretty much dominating this race.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Has just been so consistent and hasn't had too many slides. Has been able to get around the traffic very strong. His short run pace as well helped him a lot to pull away from the rest of the field once the time seemed to even out Ryan. He's still got 9 more laps to take home the victory and has to keep it clean, especially with a lot of traffic, including 17th, 16th, up to potentially 13th or 12th in range. Speaking of some of the drivers, by the way, let's take a look at the battles for 14th. Trixie here trying to hold on as Teal still continuing his recovery drive. He's got him back to where his starting position was. Remember, he went off in the grass at the start of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tix here is another name. It's usually normal up at the front, challenging for the top 6 results, but at the moment he's just down in 14th and maybe not getting to grips with this track, but at the moment he's under attack from Gary Teal in 15th. So these guys have been pretty much close together for a while as they're coming up to lap another back marker.
And Teal trying to take advantage of this, as that's Van Dorn, who had suspension damage from the first lap crash on the start. Teal not able to take advantage though, can't stick it as they go back uphill once more. Trixie now let go, so is Teal as the traffic moves out of the way. However, they are slowly as well at the same time staying within range of the battle for 12. That's separated by just about a second. Colin Bentley is falling back to them to potentially make this a 3-car train for the final 8 laps.
I was just noticing as well, riding on board of Gary Teal as well, he was just, the amount of inside curve he took on the exit was just unbelievable, so it just shows at the moment he's absolutely pushing like crazy.
Absolutely, and it, again, looking fairly sporty. His fastest times in the 49.1s today. He was 0.3 quicker the past 5 laps, by the way, to Trixie, so Teal does have the pace here in the 6th. Again, that mistake cost him a lot of time, wanting to gain it back in the final 7 laps, as again, can't get the run.
Yep, as they come across the final couple of corners now, and again, the Trixie are under attack from Teal as ahead. And also, as we go back up to towards the front, the battle for P9 is still going on at the moment between Tyler Risto and excuse me, it looks like Barry Cammy still keeping in touch as well.
They've traded spots here a couple times, the 9th and 10th machines in this battle. It's been interesting how this has all played out between these competitors. And Risto this time with a mistake though, loses some more time. The farthest back he's been to Tyler in a while. Now he spins it. Cones flying as the 21 loses it. Risto keeps it out of trouble. Murakami takes advantage for a spot. Bentley gains a spot. So does Trixie as a result, as Kiranen goes around the outside as well.
And that was so close to, that was so close to wiping out another car as well, but luckily that car managed to just get around him. And yeah, Lime Rock Park in the closing stage is starting to show why it's a bit of a tricky track to get around.
I mean, the side of the car for Gary Teal says sodded. I don't think he meant throw sod up in the air by clipping the grass. Now, as a result, he couldn't take advantage of all that. He's still in 15th. Everyone else gained a position as a result, just about.
Yeah, managing to keep going now, but yeah, it looks like Teal's under attack from Nicolino as well. So, yeah, unfortunate for Gary, but he's still having a really good race as well at the moment as they come across the hill and they get a bit of airtime.
Risto giving the spot away this time, giving the spot to Kiranen. Now it's a -7 for Risto, your second biggest loser on the track still outside of Warren Watkins. Now about to be -8. Teal, good run, trying to move up from his starting spot to the inside. Yes, and does. Get it to stick in the Big Bend. Move the 6 up to 14th under 5 laps to go.
Yeah, we're right aboard the Teal at the moment, and yeah, there's been even if there's not been a battle for the lead up at the front, we've still had some fantastic racing on in the midfield as well. As we watch the Gary Teal at the moment coming across or coming up to the jump now, and yeah, the pack's been really close.
Yeah, the grouping from 11 to 15 separated by about 3.2 seconds on the racetrack. Bentley and Trixie still within range for the red box, as well as Kiranen, Teal, and Risto in their respective groupings on the track. Meanwhile, Mick Claridge, he continues to put on a clinic. He's kept the gap balanced at about 6.7 to 6.8 seconds now, with 3 more laps to go to get around this racetrack to take home the victory.
Yep, as he comes down into turn 1 now, and he's got a few back markers in front of him to lap as the back marker runs wide trying to let him through, but I thought it was going to end up in contact there. That was so close.
That was Warren Watkins, who's been having a bit of a rough race. 8 laps down. He's the last car running the track with severe damage. But still, Claridge has been able to navigate the traffic and has been looking very aware of his surroundings throughout this night to be able to keep out of trouble, not get any damage, and as well, take the jumps nice and calmly. And oh, by the way, still setting the fastest lap times in the whole field.
Yep, and he's got another back marker to lap as well. The back marker moves out the way and there's a back marker on the grass, so it's all getting a bit frantic in the closing stages.
That was Corbo, who is now blown up He was the second last car running on the track. P4 is still up for grabs because, take a guess, Dorado's been reeled in. He gained some time on Kochi, but then balanced out. He lost the time back, and now Trangarade looking to get some more points here as he keeps the pressure up, coming to the white flag this time by.
Absolutely, and Trangrade put Rafael Dorado under huge pressure, and these guys have been evenly matched on pace pretty much from the time I've watched them, both of them rather, and as the leader Mick Claridge has come up the line to take the white flag.
White flag now up in the air. Race official Mick Claridge has led from the drop of the green lights and the drop of the green flag. He's set the fastest times of the race of 48.840 and has just put on a clinic today in precision and balance of the car. He slid and slided his car around the track to lead much of the way. The last battles on the lead lap are still shaping up to be interesting. Here's the battle for 12.
Yep, as they come down the hill now into the final corner, and they'll come across to start the final lap as well. But this battle's been really close. But I think they want to keep our eyes on the leader Mick Claridge, who's coming round the final couple of corners, Justin.
Through downhill, back to the Sam Posey straight. Mick Claridge puts on a clinic. The points leader adds another victories to his cabinet. Mick Claridge wins at Lime Rock Park. A more than 6-second advantage over Rob Olenek with Nikola Kochi. Still holding on to the third spot to the final corners to round out your podium.
But the battle for 12's coming around the final couple of corners now. And yeah, it looks like at the moment Sebastian Texier is going to hold on for that 12th place, but he's under huge pressure from Ant Kernan coming around the final corner now. And it looks like Texier is just going to hold on for 12th as he moves to defend his line.
Yes, he does. At the stripe, he holds on. And every car who has finished this race has taken the checker flag except for one, Randy Ho, who had been going back and forth on his steering wheel. You see him cross the line to complete today's action. An exciting race here at the virtual Lime Rock Park as Mick Claridge wins by 6.954 seconds. With that, post-race coverage coming up in just a few moments. You're watching the Global SimRacing Channel and the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the Lotus 49s in the Grand Prix Legends Series. Welcome back to the Grand Prix Legends post-race show, live from the virtual Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. It was an eventful race today as Mick Claridge put on a clinic to win by more than 6 seconds over Rob Olenek. Nikola Kochi rounded out your podium today. Rafael Dorado finished in 4th after a strong start in qualifying, but a rough first lap. Trying to make a move on the opening lap on the outside, dropped him as low as 5th position. Trangarade finishes in that 5th position, with Price falling to 6th. Mikos finished in 7th. with Yuri Jason in 8th position. Bill Tower and Murakami round out your top 10 today, Ryan.
Finishing 11th was Colin Bentley with Sebastian Texier in 12th, just holding on for that position. Antti Kerinen finished in 13th, with Gary Teal finishing 14th. 15th was Pekka Ristu, 16th was Mika Lainu, 17th was Kyle Clements, 18th was Jan Lehmann, and Dreng finished in 19th. And rounding out the 20 was Chris Hengler.
Anthony Oborta at one point had to go down to the pit lane with a tow. Still finished in 21st spot though. 1 lap down. Gary Anderson 2 laps down, 22nd. John Olsen Termeshier in 24th position, with Dave Conan in 25th position. Robert Reynolds got lapped 5 times today to finish in 26th position, with Warren Watkins in 27th, 8 laps down. Corabo pulled off the racetrack with 10 laps to go, finished 28th, with Andres Bruno finishing 29th. Right at our top 30, minus 16 laps for David Mayer, who started in P25, Ryan.
Yep, and the rest of the pack was, either not classified or too far back. But that's Robert Abrofa in 31st, 32nd, John Van Dorn. 33rd was Benjamin Zoko, and like I say, the rest of the pack either had issues and retired from the race, as it looks like we've got some drivers waiting for an interview.
Yes, indeed. I believe the Ridge just jumped onto a headset and is really ready for a celebration. Mick Clarge joins us here for the post-race coverage here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Mick, domination station today. How are you feeling?
Hi, Justin. It was that was sort of an annoying race, really, because I've only had one other race this week, and I had a really close battle with Rafael from start to finish, and it should have been the same today. It should have been such a good battle up front. So to see him, come off at turn 1, I think he did, with the left rear off into the grass there and put him back down. That was annoying, because I just wanted to have a good battle today,
Absolutely. Yeah, that could have been interesting to see how things shaped out, especially with improvements from Dorado in the practice speed shown. But how difficult was it to drive on this track overall? Because you're the fastest car overall on the circuit throughout the race today, but several others were struggling up in the uphill. A couple drivers struggled in the left-handers and right-handers. What made this track so difficult for this Lotus 49?
It's just got too much power for the track, really. You'd never see the car on the track in real life. Back in the day, it's just such a small track, so it's all low gear, and then you just got 400 horsepower going through the rear wheels. So, especially over the jump, getting back on the power and stuff like that. After that, you have to be really careful. So you got to really eggshell the car around the whole lap. That's basically it. You've just got to watch the power. I mean, you can set the car up for as much understeer as you want to turn in, and you're safe. It's just got too much power.
You mentioned power. The next race requires a lot of power. It's the Circuit de 24 Hours de Le Mans, but it's the historic version, which, when you think back, has a lot of requirements for speed down the straights. Your thoughts on going to France for round number 12?
Oh man, it's always one of my favorite. That and Monza with the oval, combined Monza. Le Mans down the straight, it's just insane. It's going to be a huge group of us. Maybe one of 5 or 6 cars will be on for the win. It's always like that there. 220 miles an hour down the straight in a draft, 3 or 4 wide. It's just insane. So yeah, I can't wait to even get practice in there.
Anyone you want to thank for your victory today here on the Grand Prix Legends, and a chance to grow your points lead too after today?
No one in particular, just you guys for putting on another great broadcast. I'm going to watch it back with the guys in a minute. So yeah, thanks guys.
Congratulations on the victory.
Cheers guys.
That's the Ridge with the victory today. The next driver standing by is the man who rounded out your podium today, Ryan Walkers with Nick Wakochi.
Yeah, the Italian started in 5th place, and they managed to finish on the final step of the podium. And the goal looked like a fantastic battle between you, Rafael, and at one point Ove Trengrade. How was the race for you, and what did you think of Lime Rock Park with the Lotus 49?
Hi guys. This race was very very hard because I don't not only have to fight against the other opponents, but I have to fight with my frame rate as well because right off the bat, turn one, all the card disappeared for me. So I was thinking that I was going to be kicked out the server, but all the cards came back. But I had frame rate issues for the whole race. So in turn one and turn two, I was driving very carefully because I was not confident. I drive really bad when I have frame rate issues, and this was one of those races. I was lucky to get podium. The battle with Dave and Rafael was very cool, but very stressful because I wasn't confident at all. I thought that I could have seen Mick and Rafael driving in the distance, like gapping everyone. I didn't foresaw that Rob was going to get that good of a pace, and I was starting fifth, and I think that I was going to be around there, but today I got lucky and I got a podium. But I think that Rafael was going to be a lot quicker than me for sure.
And with regards to the back markers as well, did you have any issues? What did you think? Whether did they make it easy for you to get by, or if so, what did you think of the standards?
Yeah, I think that the lappers, the back markers here, done a very good job. It's never easy to combine, like to be like careful and leave space, but at the same time not losing too much time. So I have to thank all the back markers that have done a very good job. But I don't think that this track is fitting this car at all. It's too small, too tight. If we were going to be like a very hard battle, it's very easy to defend here, and so it's not giving like very much of opportunity for faster guys to overtake. And at the same time, we have like a very large split. So it's passing few minutes before you're going to see the first back markers, and it's kind of a tunnel. I will describe it like that. So it's not very mixing things up unless somebody do a mistake, of course. But I don't think this car fitting this track at all, and I would not be happy to race here again. But we have like cycles of tracks, and it could probably come back sooner or later.
And before we let you go, Nicola, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to or any thanks to?
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank all the participants of this fantastic series, if you ask me. And I want to thank Rafa and Alessandro for all the support that we gave each other during the week, and see how the car behaves and stuff like that. So and everybody that is willing to share his setup and his telemetry to allow other guys to be faster and grow in this series that is so useful when you have to understand how to drive a car fast. Thank you guys. See you there.
Good stuff. As that was a Nicola Coche finishing in third place, joining us, and I believe up next, Justin, you have a fourth place finisher, Rafael Dorado.
Yes, indeed. And Rafael, first things first, McClurridge was hoping to have a battle with you, is what he told us in his post-race interview. Made a bit of a mistake on the first lap in the first corner, trying to send on the outside. Talk us through the opening stages of the race and your recovery.
Yeah, that's really very frustrating because I was hoping to have a good battle with Mick today as well. And I actually had practiced in the move of going on the outside on turn one a bunch of times by myself because I knew I could have a better start than he could have. But unfortunately, as Nick was telling, and the same thing happened to me, I had major FPS issues with my computer today, and as soon as I got to turn one, my computer froze for a couple of milliseconds, uh, and I lost my line, and then I lost my position to maybe 4 or 5 cars, and had to fight my way back. Had a really enjoyable fight with Dave Price, but then I couldn't catch the guys in front again.
You're actually the second driver to mention that, unfortunately, in today's race. In our post-race discussions, Kochi also touched upon that. But want to ask you about this as well, because many drivers have noticed your rise through the past few weeks and the amount of speed you've picked up. What are some of the things that have contributed to that, and in turn, how you feel about that improvement?
Well, I think the major factor is that I have a lot of free time right now in this moment. So I am dedicating a lot of time to practice, and I'm trying to structure my practice to be as productive as possible. And I'm asking for help of people that are more experienced than I am. So I have to thank also Christian Challenger for giving me some help this week. Yeah, and I'm trying to put a lot of time into it. I did, I think, more than 500 laps this week so far. And I will try to keep doing more and more practice to finally be able to fight for position with Mick. I think his races are a little bit too boring at the moment.
Okay. On that point, and have to say, speaking with Christian Challenger a couple times, he's mentioned your great improvements as well, and a lot of excitement about seeing you do well and almost come to victories a few times. But next chance to do so in a broadcaster race is at Le Mans. Your thoughts on going there were speed, more speed, and don't forget that speed is very important there, as well as draft.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be really challenging for me because it's a very big track, and I, to be honest, never driven there before. It's one of those tracks that I know are very popular, and I think it's an interesting track, but just never had the opportunity to drive there. So it's going to be my first time. I will be learning the track for the first time. So it's definitely going to be a big challenge.
Anyone you want to thank for your run today?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for the broadcast. I always love watching it afterwards. Thank the Lotus 49 community. I want to thank Christian, of course, for his the help he's giving me with my driving and with my setups. And also Nick and Alessandro, we have a little group where we talk about technical stuff and setups and as well. So it's really a good way that we can learn from each other.
Congratulations on the top 5 today, Rafael.
Thank you very much.
Rafael Dorado joining us, as well as Nicola Kochi and McClurge. I'd like to thank them for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage. Quickly, your final thoughts, Ryan, on what we've seen today here at Lime Rock.
I have to say that was a fantastic race, and the standard of driving was really good, and everyone was racing each other hard but giving each other respect at the same time. And I think, excuse me, I think that's why the Lotus 49 is one of the best communities around, just because everyone helps each other, like Rafael was talking about. And I think, it's a laid-back community as well.
And it was talked about a lot that drivers are looking forward to Le Mans. Your expectations for that track next week?
It's one of my favourite tracks, and I think next week is going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've raced here in the Lotus 49 before, and the race has been great, and I think next week should be no exception.
I'd like to take time to thank the whole Grand Prix Legends community for putting on a great event today and holding what was a very high driver standards race here at the virtual Lime Rock Park. I'd like to ask, are you interested in advertising with GSRC? Our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. I'll link in the description to the YouTube version of this broadcast to learn more about the Global SimRacing Channel. Lots of dirt racing on the mind, I'll have to admit, pardon me there, but I take the time to thank the companies to provide us with the great software and hardware for our broadcast. GSRC uses them to deliver the best possible show. Special thanks go to Jude Law, and provides her wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find out more at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms at Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button, as well as in the iRacing Esports Network, so you don't miss a moment on either network. All the upcoming races for our series are now on your screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down your calendar. Don't forget the next time the Grand Prix Legends are on the iRacing Esports Network is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on August 29th, where we go racing at the Classic Le Mans circuit. Once again, round 12 starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on IESN and the Global SimRacing Channel. Finally, on behalf of our entire crew in Sean, Ryan, Alama Dungy, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Mick Claridge on the victory today here in Lakeville, Connecticut. With that, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.